June's U.S. job report showed a loss of 39,000 government jobs, which offset much of the gains in private sector hiring. Reuters Breakingviews columnist Agnes says if drastic federal budget cuts are enacted, the jobs picture could become bleaker. She joins us now. Now, Agnes, government jobs have now shrunk for 8 months in a row. How much worse can it get?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is and I think traditionally we haven't focused on the government sector just because the private sector is the one that really kind of is the big generator of jobs and tends to lead things. But what we've been noticing is that because of budget deficits, because of withdrawing of spending, this sector is also shedding jobs, right? So this is going to become increasingly important because the private sector doesn't seem to has any momentum whatsoever in terms of hiring.
And hasn't been able to offset the loss. But some would argue, especially the Republicans, that smaller government is better for business overall.
Right. No, and again, I think this argument is as old as as I am, essentially. But again, I think for right now, the reality is the U.S. economy has a jobs problem, right? And we've had a jobs problem since 2008, and it doesn't seem the private sector does not seem to be stepping in. Now, again, I can understand, again, it's a point of view of smaller government, and that may be where we're heading eventually. But again, it's this idea of if you start enacting drastic spending cuts at this time, the private sector isn't there for the handoff, right? So if the public sector starts, increases or the job cuts accelerate, then there's a chance that, again, we're going to see another rise up in the unemployment rate.
So what you're saying is longer term, you can have a goal of smaller government, but that now is not the time?
Now is not the time to actually be front-loading big cuts, right? Again, I think we have to decide as a country, do we have a jobs problem? I think we do have a jobs problem. The unemployment rate is now at 9.2%. It's been 3 years. And again, I think it's also, we have to also really take a look at our expectations of, again, it's going to take a while to kind of get back to where we were before 2008. And I think we may be drawing some of the wrong conclusions in terms of policy of what we want to do to get back there.
But Agnes, we've got a showdown between the Democrats and Republicans. We've got that President Obama will be talking to congressional leaders working through this weekend, trying to get a deal on the debt. And if you don't cut the federal budget, you don't get a deal. Aren't the consequences more disastrous if, the U.S. were to default because it wasn't able to produce an agreement?
No, absolutely. But I think there should be some room for compromise on a budget deal. Again, the fact is that tax increases are completely off the table is not helping matters. And again, I think if you look at markets, I think the expectation still is that they are going to have some kind of deal. What we're saying is that, again, if you're going to have a deal and you are going to affect $2 to $4 trillion worth of cuts, again, you got to think about when you want those cuts to actually take effect.
But cut, but not so much, and think about when. Thanks a lot, Agnes. Our thanks to Agnes of Breakingviews. I'm Fred Katayama, and this is Reuters.